on this episode of the People of Pearland podcast.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
How many generations Texan are you?
Oh, never really tried to figure that out.
Stay tuned for more.
Good job. Yeah.
All right, thank you. And we're rolling.
Hold on.
Let Kathleen get out of the room. Bye, Kathleen. Okay, ready?
Good. You're good.
I know. Well, I was gonna. I always feel like the opening. Like I always start with the, welcome everybody to the, and I was going to do a cold, right into it, and then I had stage. I don't know. I locked up or something. Okay. Welcome everybody to the next episode of the People of Pearland podcast. I'm your host, Josh Lee, and we have with us
Joe Calderon. Sorry.
Our other host. And our special guest today is the one and only
That's right.
Tracy Rohrbacher from the Pearland Convention and
Visitors.
Yeah.
Yes.
You don't create them, right? So why do people come to Pearland to visit?
There's lots of reasons. Many of the same reasons why people choose to live here. So there's lots to enjoy with our local cuisine. I think our cuisine scene is underappreciated here.
I would agree with that.
Also, the fact that we're just so close to Houston amenities. That's a big plus.
Yeah.
You can stay local here in Pearland and still enjoy everything that's just down the road from us.
And would you say it's more cost effective to stay in Pearland and go other places?
Absolutely. We have affordable options with several of our hotels.
And nice hotels too.
Yeah, nice hotels. And then we also have a great collection of athletic fields in our parks, which attracts sports tournament organizers. And birding is another big opportunity here.
Oh, yeah. At the Dolores Finnick
Right.
Nature Center.
I swear, every time I'm out there's someone with a big camera. Like it never fails. Like honestly, yeah.
No shotguns though.
No.
That's good.
Yes.
That's important. That's other spots in the area.
Yep.
Outside of city limits, you can't shoot a gun in city limits. So people come here. I will say personal experience in a Pearland hotel. It's a Marriott next to the Pearland Town Center.
Mm-hmm.
We spent Christmas there one year because my entire family had the flu.
Oh my gosh.
We lived in Dallas at the time, and we came down to visit the rest of our family. And every time we'd visit, we spent every Christmas with Deanna's grandparents. And being grandparents, they're older, and so we didn't want to give them the flu. So we packed everything up literally Christmas Eve and went to the hotel and spent the next 4 or 5 days at the Marriott. It was a really nice hotel and very memorable. I don't know if you've ever had to move 2 sick kids and Christmas presents all in one night, but
knock on wood. No,
yeah.
Yet.
It was memorable. It was so we added to the hotel occupancy tax just a little bit. So.
Generated some economic activity.
We did. We ate Christmas lunch at Denny's across the street. We were over the flu by that point, but we were we stayed right in the area, and there was there's a lot right there. You don't have to go very far to have a good time. So that's very cool. How long have you been with the CVB?
It'll be 10 years in October.
Really? Congratulations. So you're about to get your 10-year pin.
Yes. Yes.
That's exciting. Have you already submitted the questionnaire with all the fun facts and stuff like that?
No, I haven't seen that yet.
That should be coming up soon, I would hope.
Okay.
And you'll get to pick, they have the longevity prizes that you pick from. Have you been to the employee, what do they call it? 10-year Thursday that they do?
Right.
I haven't been in quite some time.
Yeah. So they, Trent always talks about these. He gets these nesting bowls. He got these nesting bowls one time.
I do remember that.
And now it's part of the lore.
Yeah.
They're just Pyrex nesting bowls.
Well, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Something to look forward to in
when
October.
the catalog comes out, see what's in there. So what got you interested in this line of work? What's it? Why do you like inviting visitors to Pearland?
So 10 years ago, I started with the CVB and the marketing manager position.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a nice transition from the role I had previously in real estate, where we were still promoting place.
Right.
And it was a matter of
what kind of real estate you were?
Home building.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, home building with a lot of new home developments here in Pearland. So
Yeah,
I was familiar with the city's growth. So it was a transition on the marketing side, coming in and learning the tourism angle of things. And
But lots of things I would think carry over from home building marketing to CVB marketing. Right.
You're still marketing a community, a lifestyle, a sense of place. So that was the commonality between the two industries and the switch.
Yeah. So in terms of the job that you do in the CVB, what does that look like? How do you, so your job is to attract people to come here. How do you make that a reality?
We spend quite a bit of time advertising and promoting the city through a variety of platforms. So we have different audiences, the leisure traveler who's going to come in looking for things to do with their family, or girls trip, shopping, whatnot, which we have a lot of amenities that appeal to that. And then there's different audiences for sports tourism, where we would attend trade shows and try to promote the different benefits for organizers to take a look at us. And that actually is how we were able to make the connection with the current partner that we have for youth girls softball tournaments that have been really successful here. That came from a trade show attendance.
That's awesome.
Really?
Yeah, years ago.
Are there trade shows specifically for convention and visitor bureaus and people who are looking for places to go?
So there are different industry type trade shows, and in the sports tourism space, there are opportunities where different organizations, so we're also considered like a destination marketing organization. So different DMOs come together, and it's an appointment style trade show. And so we come in and we match up with organizers that are interested, that there could be some potential. And then through a series of multiple days, we meet through these sometimes 10-minute appointments.
Right.
And you have a chance to pitch your city, pitch what you have to offer, and then you can connect offline to see if anything will materialize. So sometimes it can take years for it to materialize.
Yeah.
And that's what happened in this case.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So what's your pitch for the city of Pearland? How does that go? So I'm a softball tournament vendor. So why should I come to Pearland?
So in Pearland, we are close proximity to the Houston area. So easy access to Hobby Airport.
Check.
Lots of amenities down the road if you're interested in theater, museums, big attractions.
Yep.
But here locally, we have state-of-the-art facilities with athletic fields that are within close proximity. So we have 6 softball fields at Centennial Park.
Is that a lot?
That's a good grouping in one particular.
Oh, so they can play a lot of games.
But what's also attractive is that just a short drive away at Shadow Creek Ranch, the Sportsplex at Shadow Creek Ranch, we have additional fields. So we've recently turfed baseball fields for play for both softball and baseball. And then we have the original 4 softball fields.
Okay.
Plus we have Veterans Field. So we have 15 fields within a very close proximity.
I don't think I've ever added them all up. That's staggering.
Impressive.
Yeah.
So that's a nice collection where teams that are traveling from out of town are no longer having to drive from, say, Pearland to Cypress or North Houston. It gives the organizer the ability to build his schedule so that a lot of the play happens in one particular area of town.
I can imagine that saves them a lot of time too, because they can rotate games more quickly that way. I mean, it's easier from a scheduling perspective too. And it's easier on the players and the teams and everything, I would think.
So we've had success with the youth girls softball sector, and we'd like to see the ability to grow that. Yeah. And we've also been able to take advantage of our proximity to the Sabercat Stadium, and we've hosted rugby teams here.
Really?
College rugby.
Wow.
It takes place at Sabercat
Sabercats
Stadium.
is rugby for anybody who's not.
But I confused it with cricket because we have Moosa Stadium, which handles cricket.
Is that a pretty popular? I mean, do we get a lot of cricket play in Pearland?
Cricket is a major growing sport. There's a lot of local play that happens at Shadow Creek on the
Really?
multipurpose fields.
Yep.
But at Moosa Stadium, upcoming in December of this year, they're hosting a 15-day tournament for the American Premier League that we're sponsoring.
Wow.
And our goal is to have a lot of those traveling teams stay in our local hotels.
Right.
And how do you know if they stay here? Do they communicate that with you, or do they?
We work closely with the organizer when they contact us, and we put some things in place to help us track that activity. So not only will our office, as part of the services that we offer, reach out to all of our 12 hotel properties to gather the rates specific to that event. And then we build a landing page. We can offer some additional services to them with regard to restaurants and group dining options and whatnot. So through those codes that are curated from that initial reach, we will then work with the organizer and track the activity based on the booking codes and what we get from the coaches.
Gotcha. So you're like a concierge for a whole city, basically. Like if I need to do something in Pearland, like I recently did like all of the tacos in Pearland, I probably could have come to you and just said,
what are the top 5?
Yeah, what are the best tacos in Pearland?
So that is, I think, one of our blog topics on Visit Pearland.
You know what? I've actually visited that blog specifically, and I found some that I was unaware of that I had to add to my list there.
That's awesome.
So I just, that slipped my mind until right now. So you also have the pear sculptures,
yes.
right? How did that come about?
Back in 2016, the idea was to create a public art sculpture trail that would bring pears back to the city of Pearland,
because we don't have any
we
pears.
no longer have fruit-bearing trees here.
Sure, yeah.
So it was an opportunity to showcase local artists through the design, and then to tie in that visitation component by placing the pears at locations where there was the ability to attract visitors.
Right.
Yep.
So in our parks, we have a couple at we had one at the brewery that was Backfish and is now Saloon Door West.
Is it still there?
Mm-hmm.
We have 4 out here, I think, right?
Yes, by the gazebo.
Right. Yeah.
Because the gazebo is rentable for weddings and special events.
Right.
How many total do we have? Pears?
We started out with 20, and we've recently added to the trail. So right now we are at 22.
Wow.
And we have another one in the works.
Cool.
Ooh,
cool. Yeah.
Stay tuned for that. I have had people, they come in to City Hall lobby, like they wander in here, and then they're like, we're looking for the pear trail.
Yep.
Right
over
go,
Yeah. There's
almost
a scavenger hunt that we have on our website. And also there's a digital version of it. So if people check in using this digital passport at each of the locations, they're eligible to win prizes.
Pears?
Pear themes will be in it.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So they come to the CVB, they come to your, where do they collect the prizes?
It depends on the prize. Some people have come into our office to collect it, and others we can mail.
Fascinating.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
I need to do this now. I need some prizes. So do you get a lot of visitors from that? Is it, have you had people do it like more than once? Like they
We haven't had more than one repeat participants, but we do get a lot of inquiries, and our local community loves the pears.
Yeah.
So it touches on multiple audiences. Right.
They're a fun little Easter egg. It always makes me happy when I see one. So you have those, and I think they're all very unique and very individualized. I didn't realize they were all local artists that were doing all the designs on them. I knew the Tom Reed pear that we have at the park, because I saw that one. I met the artist with you when it was finished, and I got to say that's a fascinating medium, because it's pear shaped.
Yes.
How do you draw
right
on a pear, and a big one at that?
Yeah.
But every single one of them has its own
They're
style.
all so unique. Yeah, for sure.
Don't you also do? We have the electrical boxes that have the artist wraps on them. What is that? Is that?
So that was another part of the arts space that we explored by doing the mini murals on traffic signal boxes. We did a pilot program here in the Pearland Parkway corridor, so there are 4 of them. And that was to determine how the process would work, whether we would be better off using vinyl wraps, because some cities actually apply the paint
directly
to the
box. Yeah.
to the traffic signal boxes. So
we
found
use vinyl wraps, right?
the vinyl wraps.
I was convinced that they were hand painted. They look that good.
Yeah, they did a really nice
neat
job.
And the beauty of using the vinyl wrap, not only will it last longer and it's more resilient, is also the artist draws the original piece of work on canvas. So we have a canvas painting that matches each of the signal boxes.
Really? That is very, very cool. There's a lot of artwork that you're responsible for, like the sesquicentennial. I forget, the 125th.
Right.
That artwork is hung in council chambers next to the centennial. Yes, from 1994. And then there's artwork in the West Pearland Library. It's on plexiglass, or it's on
plexiglass.
Yeah. That was done at one of the art shows, right? Or
that was a live art piece that was created during the Music to My Beers event.
Okay.
That was a collaboration between Backfish Brewing, EDC, CVB, and Pearland House Concerts. And it was really nice to see the art come to life during that.
Yeah.
How many hours that was, maybe 6 hours. And then we had the acrylic panels afterwards, and it seemed to make sense to put them out at the West Pearland Library. So is there any other place that we should look out for art that you originated with the CVB, or those kind of the main touch points? The mural at the tunnel at Independence Park was funded through our cultural arts grant.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah. Forever Parks Foundation, I believe, is the nonprofit that applied for the funding for that program.
Fantastic.
So we manage a cultural arts grant program every year that supports nonprofits based in Pearland with arts-centric programming.
Expand on that. So, so there are nonprofits that, you can fund an artist, or so when you say arts programming.
It can be a variety of things. So in that case, it was an actual mural exhibit. We have funded the Pearland Theater Guild, which is community theater that runs at their space throughout the year. They have been a recipient. Other events that have been funded through the grant are Puranava, which is an Indian celebration. Pearland Arts League used to produce a Fusion of the Arts event.
Fusion of the Arts. What was it, an art festival, or they do?
It was an art festival. They would have a juried art show, and then they brought in different dancers and performances. That was all pre-pandemic programming.
Interesting. I'm always really pleased when I see, we had for the 125th anniversary a large-ish art display during that celebration. And Pearland Arts League, they used to have an office right over here, right in the old administrative building, right? And there's a lot of really talented people in Pearland. There's a lot of, so how do people find out about artists in Pearland? Where do they go to?
So our website actually has quite a bit of information at visitpearland.com.
Okay.
And we are right now in the first phase of a cultural arts master plan project for the city, the first of its kind.
And what is that going to do?
That is going to really help create more of a shared vision for the community about the role for arts and culture here in Pearland. When we met with all the different nonprofit groups, Mayor Cole, when he came into office in 2021, had a listening tour of sessions to understand what each of the nonprofits were going through as we were entering the reopening. And there were a lot of common themes that we heard throughout that process, and it led us to the realization that we really need more of an overall strategic approach to arts and culture.
Right. Yeah.
And so the community will have opportunity to provide feedback in October when we move into the next phase of the project.
That will be fascinating to see.
And so we get so many comments about public art and programming and all sorts of desires. So this is the opportunity that residents and visitors and everyone will have the ability to weigh in and offer their opinion on what they would like to see down the road.
That would be fascinating, because we were actually in our last conversation talking about this. We were talking about video production specifically, and I mentioned backdrops. Somebody said, you can get these backdrops on Amazon. My suggestion for video producers is go out into the community, and it's the the murals or the I love you so much, or I love tacos, or whatever it's those things that really capture your attention. And the more localized they are, the more people feel passionately about them. The mural over where the sugar pear used to be, or even the gates of the tunnel at Independence Park, those become recognizable landmarks. And so I think that's part of, like, when we think about our job, one of the things that sets us apart and gives us an edge when talking, right, is we can display things that people are proud of because it's in their community.
Right.
And that's a really important part to creating community, right? You're central to that.
So talking about video, we're a film-friendly city, is that right? How does that all work out?
So we went through the certification process through the Texas Governor's Office to receive that designation. And that means that we are listed as one of several Texas film-friendly destinations, which is almost like we roll out the welcome mat for producers and the film community, which is growing in Texas in general. And that's something that we want to expand on as well. We do get calls for producers and folks that are looking for venue spaces. And so we're in the process of trying to create more of a database of different businesses and opportunities that are out and available, so we can have a quick reference. But surprisingly, we get a lot of interest for use of the Pearland jail.
Okay, I was about to say, I've heard about that. Yeah.
But I've seen a couple that came through for Pearland PD, never specifically the jail. But that makes sense.
That's interesting.
I guess we're not keeping it full enough with...
Which it can be a challenge to allow use of the jail too, or the police department. So it's tricky, but it's always interesting to me that is at the top of the list right now.
Do you know the most iconic movie filmed in Pearland?
I don't. Do you?
I remember watching Arlington Road. That was the one that always comes to my head, because when you see
that's the only one.
Because when you see it, you're like, oh, that's Pearland. Like, it just looks like that's funny, especially when you're from here.
I mean,
it's a good movie.
Yeah, and I mean, it's in Pearland. I'm sure they shot in other locations.
Yeah,
as
I think
well,
there was some other.
There's like a house that I can think of, and it's like, oh, yep, that's like. It's like Oak Brook.
Pearland suburb. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Well, that's very cool. So other than work, tell us about Tracy. What do you do? What do you do in your spare time?
So when I'm not in Pearland, my husband and I really like to check out live music out in preferably Texas dance halls.
Yeah. What's your favorite dance hall, you think?
That's a tough one.
Do you have a favorite?
That's a tough one.
Because I know what mine is, but
there's so many cool ones. Yeah. And right now I would say Cat Spring Dance Hall comes to mind. It's in Cat Spring.
Well, that makes sense. Yeah. Okay. I don't know where Cat Spring is.
I want to say that is Fayette County.
Okay.
But it is a really uniquely shaped dance hall. It's more of that octagonal look to it. Yep.
I've seen a few like that. I've never been in one.
There's several that have that same look throughout the hill country. And Cat Spring is just kind of a nice one. But there's also the very popular, Green Hall. and others that have so much history.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a love affair with Green Hall. I'll go there if I'm in anywhere in the vicinity. Like if we go to Fredericksburg, I have to go to Green Hall and I have to go to Lukenbach, and whether there are people there or not. And maybe I'm just getting older, but I actually prefer Green Hall now on the local nights, on a Tuesday night rather than a Friday night.
Right.
I do love to see Roger Krager there, or Walt Wilkins on New Year's Day, stuff like that. But I much prefer sitting on the entrance side, on the bar side, and just enjoying the local scenery. It's like I know I'm not from there, but I feel so comfortable there.
Yeah.
And there's something really special for sure about that place. Yeah. But there are a lot of really good old dance halls in Texas. So y'all drive like what, all over Texas, or you're just looking for the best dance hall, best?
So we have a place that we stay at outside of Columbus, Texas. And so that puts us within easy drive to catch several of the different opportunities that are out there. So it's always fun to find a new place that has the right vibe and the right feel.
Yeah.
But
well, and a lot of those drives are so pretty. There's so many great roads in Texas that are not I-10 or 45 or heaven forbid 35. And I try to find ways to get around. I made the mistake a couple times. One, we drove from here. We were driving to Shiner, which another great place that I highly recommend. Great little bed and breakfast there. And I decided to go 90 instead of 10, but it was on a Friday evening in rush hour. Huge mistake. That road backs up like crazy. And then we were taking a trip. We have a place in Rock Springs, which is way, way, way out west, but it puts us close to Del Rio, puts us not too far from Kerrville and Fredericksburg. And so we can hop a bunch of different places out there. And I got to I want to say 146, so that's not right. 46 that goes around Bernie. And it catches, I think it's Luling maybe, on the east side. And I loved 46. We used to drive it growing up all the time because it bypasses all of I-10 going through San Antonio. And so I was like, yeah, I'll take that. And now it's built up all the way around, all the way through New Braunfels, all the way around to Bernie. It's all communities. And I was just flabbergasted. And it's all lights too now. I mean, it's stop and go the whole way. And so you have to go further south and further west to find the hidden gem roads that are still back there.
Right.
There's a lot of development out there, but the hill country, there's a lot of really good stuff out there.
I was lucky enough to live there for 6-8 years. I went to Texas State, so all of that was in my backyard. It was the best. It was so nice to be up there.
I remember when Deanna, my wife, went to A&M for grad school, and we moved her up there. And I mean, College Station, not in the hill country, but it is in that rolling plains area. And I walked into HEB, and there was a dude pushing a shopping cart, cowboy boots, his pants tucked into him, a camo shirt, and a cowboy hat. And I thought, I'm home. Like, this is it. This is like,
that's it.
It's so, and there's just, so many of those drives out there, and there's so much to explore that, I mean, you could go for a lifetime and never see everything. So music wise, obviously Texas country or country music, if you're going to dance halls, but favorite bands or people that are you groupies for anybody? Or are you?
A few. So Sleep at the Wheel is always a good time.
Yep.
And then there's a lot of bands that are inspired by that whole Western swing, Bob Wills angle. So the Broken Spokes is another great band to catch.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I gravitate a little more folksy. So like Steve Earle and Turnpike Troubadours. A little bit more red dirt country, but a good like a band that you can dance to. I mean, that's what dance halls are for, right? But that's always a really fun time. Green Hall, if you get a big enough show, you can actually feel the floor flexing under your feet, that's always exciting.
That's cool. Yeah, that's cool.
So from this area originally, or transplant, or what?
Native Houstonian.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
How many generations Texan are you?
Oh, never really tried to figure that out.
Because I was thinking about this the other day. I heard somebody else say, like, I don't know, 3 or 4 or 5 generations or something, and I was like, well, I'm Texan, but I'm only second generation native Texan. My dad.
I don't know if I ever thought about that.
Yeah, maybe third. My dad's family is from Kingsville, Texas.
Like down King's Ranch,
Mm-hmm.
King Ranch and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And close
So
to
maybe
Padre.
Maybe third generation.
Okay. Favorite place in Texas? Other than Pearland, obviously.
Oh, you're right.
Oh, wow. That's kind of hard to go to one spot, but San Antonio comes to mind.
Don't even say it. It's a running joke that Josh should have been like born, raised.
I should have been
San
from
Antonio.
San Antonio is my favorite place. I don't know why. Like, I love it. The Riverwalk is so crowded when all the tourists are there, and it's so hot in the summertime. And I'd spend my entire life in and around there. My sons and I did the Missions Tour trail a couple of summers ago, and it was like 130 degrees outside. And these buildings were built in the mid 1700s. It's all historic. And they said, my oldest son said he wanted to do this. And I was like, yep, I like trip to San Antonio.
Awesome. Yeah.
I'm game. And we stayed at what's the hotel next to the Alamo? It's the
Manger.
The Manger.
Mm-hmm.
We stayed at the Manger, which a lot of famous people, very old hotel, lots of history there. And we just kind of did the whole, stayed downtown and walked around all down there. And I mean, I would do that every weekend if I could. San Antonio is a fantastic place. And it's central to,
everything.
All the things.
For sure.
Everything's right there.
For sure.
Are you a cowboy boot wearer? Or are you
Yes.
dancing?
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen you in cowboy boots, honestly.
Yeah.
Okay. Ride a horse?
No.
No. Okay. All right. Are you an outdoorsy type, or you like you like mainly go to the dance halls? And
I am not outdoorsy unless it involves a flea market with antique finds.
Oh, cool.
Then I can be outdoorsy.
Are you big on like the round top antique?
Yes.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
For sure. That's awesome.
That's twice a year. That's always a good
Yeah.
time.
do you ever go up to Canton? Have you ever done that
Have
one?
not tried that at all.
That is overwhelming. It's big. It is so big.
My mother-in-law just bought. She's got an Airbnb house, and it's on the highway. I forget what that highway is that you hit Round Top eventually. And so we've been up there when it's happening, and it's like backed up. Like you can't get in or out for anything of that. It's intense.
Yeah.
It's for real.
On our last trip to Shiner, we hit all the little towns, Hallettsville, Gonzales, a couple of other ones, just to see like how their antique stores fare. And we spent an entire day just like in a, probably a 40-mile radius, hitting all the different little spots. And I was specifically looking for an antique tractor style water sprinkler. So they used to make this. My friend Kenny has
It's
one.
very specific.
I know, and they're really hard to find. Kenny has one that he got from his like grandfather or something. It looks like an old John Deere tractor. Has a single front wheel. It's all metal, like cast iron, probably. Has metal back wheels. You hook a hose up to it, and the pressure from the hose turns the wheels and turns a sprinkler on top. And then the front wheel sits on the hose, and it guides it wherever you lay the track on.
Oh, okay.
It's very cool. And the old ones like that are just neat. And so I'm always looking for that. And my wife has been looking for, and she finally found one on that trip, a deviled egg tray. like an old,
Yeah.
I still haven't found the tractor. The thing is, when I'm looking for my thing, I find the thing that she needs, you know? So I put it on her to find the thing.
Have you been to Browsing Around right here in Pearland?
No,
Oh,
I don't think
cool.
I have.
That's
It's an
cool
antique
Where is that
store
place?
right off of Broadway.
Right, really, where it splits.
Right next to Central?
No.
Right by that gas station on the corner where it splits.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah. I've seen that one.
Mhm.
There's some really cool stuff in that shop.
Interesting.
And the owner you can talk to can maybe help you find or curate what you're looking for.
Well, I have an irrigation system now, so kind of defeats the purpose
be,
now.
But still,
Now I'm
it
looking
could
for
be
a dirt
public
bike.
art
So
sculpture in
it
your
could be.
backyard.
It could. I'll put it at the depot.
there you go. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great idea. So you have communications. You have a communications person on your team. Used to be that person. So how is that transition? Is it different for you? Like, do you see her, your person doing that job and miss it, or do you, are you happy with how everything's transitioned, or what's the biggest change for you from communications to executive director?
So we're very fortunate that we have a very strong personality, strong individual in the role. Becca Burns is our marketing manager. She does a great job. Watching her work, I miss some of the aspects of that. She's such a great writer, and she has the ability to capture like the tone and voice for our community. She does a great job of that. So I miss some aspects of it for sure.
Yeah.
But I also see that she brings so much to the table that she's able to take it to the next level.
Yeah. That can be a hard thing to let go. And personally, that's my experience has been similar in that, I grew up like, well, I'll just figure it out. I'll just do it. And there are things like this podcast is one where like, I don't want to burden my team and I enjoy doing it. But the reality is they're probably going to be better at doing it than I am, so I have to be willing to let go and acknowledge, where the talent actually lies. And I'm not saying you're not talented at communications. I'm saying you have a different job, and that can be a struggle for sure.
Right. And I think we have a really strong team. We're the smallest department of the city. There are 3 of us full-time and 1 part-time person. So our sales manager, Terry Muzzer, she has a hotel background, and that's a brand new dimension that comes to the department with her coming on board maybe 3 years ago. And
extremely valuable considering you're talking about hotel occupancy.
So she speaks that language, and she has brought so much to us with the experiences she has in the industry.
I really like her because she laughs at all of my jokes.
She's high
her
energy.
Her laugh is infectious.
Yes, she's fun. So we have a really strong team, and it's about what each of us can contribute as to make the whole better, you know? So
that makes perfect sense. Mm-hmm. So what does the future vision look like for the Pearland Convention and Visitors Bureau? What's your 5-year plan?
Well, we have a lot to tackle. We've got the outcome of our Cultural Arts Master Plan. We have some opportunities that we need to look at on the sports tourism side. We also need to look at bigger picture items and different things that we can help support that will help with our efforts in attracting visitors. And we maybe should consider a name change too.
You think? What would you change it to?
We would become Visit Pearland.
Oh, yeah.
VP. Very important. Visit Pearland.
Because I feel like that's a lot of
VIP.
Other cities are doing that, right? Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I like it. To the point.
Visit Pearland.
A lot of DMOs, Destination Marketing Organizations.
Acronyms.
Yes. Move to that sort of naming that aligns with the branding. All of our branding is Visit Pearland.
Yep.
So it would make sense that we kind of synchronize that.
Yeah. Well, it's sort of it's cleaner than Pearland CVB, right? See, that sounds like a a part that you get for a car.
Yeah.
I got the CVB fixed. Doesn't it?
Spot on.
It
Yeah.
does. Whereas VP sounds like, oh, okay.
We'll
Because we got to
see.
stick with the acronyms.
That's awesome.
But there's lots of things to contemplate for
Sure.
our growth, but we will still always be focused on what our dollars are dedicated towards, which is tourism and attracting visitors and growing that visitation.
Yeah.
Because it impacts the local economy. A person that's going to come into town and stay in a hotel, they're also going to eat in our restaurants and shop local. And
Which helps our sales tax, which
Yeah.
funds other parts of the budget.
so we basically import wealth to the community for a very limited time.
Right.
And then visitors go back home
Yeah.
and resume normal activity.
Yeah. And talk about it with other people.
Yeah.
And then they,
They're like, have you seen those pears in
Right, yeah.
Pearland? Okay. That's cool. What's in the immediate future? Like what's coming up? What events are y'all planning that people need to attend? I know this is we just found out or got information today. I know it's a chamber event, but the Taste of Pearland?
Yeah, that's
are y'all involved in that at all? Do you do anything with that, or?
We're not a part of that event this go round.
But you do Restaurant Week, right? Y'all do something along those lines?
We had Pearland Restaurant Week's first iteration last year. We have it on the books for November of this year. We're still in the process of recruiting restaurants, and we're hoping to get that solidified. We do have the Pearland Art on the Pavilion event coming up in October. It's at the town center.
What day is that in October?
October 14th and 15th. So
Okay.
It's a two-day event.
Yeah.
We'll have artists from local and regional selling unique items. So it's a good time to start your Christmas shopping
Yeah.
to find some really unique items there. We'll bring in food trucks, live music. We'll have a couple of art cars.
Cool.
We're bringing in a wine vendor from Yoakum, Texas to be part of the bistro this year.
Cool.
And then we're also working with the local business art camp in having children paint miniature pears for free. You sign up for a workshop on Saturdays, and then those pears will be on display at the art show this year.
That's awesome.
That's fantastic.
So we're going to have little miniature painted pears,
That's so
Yeah.
and we're hoping to have a traveling exhibit
That
of
would be
pears.
awesome. So, silly question. Where did you find miniature pears?
The owner of Art Camp, Natasha,
Uh-huh.
is very passionate about art in general and loves the painted pears, and she wanted to find a way to create miniatures. And so she found a vendor and sourced them.
So they're 3-dimensional little.
Mhm.
How big are they?
I don't know why I was thinking a piece of paper that you would
Yeah,
cut.
yeah.
No,
This is an
they're
actual.
like a little mini sculpture.
Oh, that's really cool.
Maybe, I don't know,
Yeah.
4 or 5 inches tall.
That's awesome.
That's amazing.
That's cool.
So if your kids are available,
Yeah.
you can do
Yeah.
workshops. She's hosting
I mean, what
workshops.
if I want to paint one?
Yeah. You're a kid at heart.
That's
So
right.
just show up.
That's right.
Yeah.
Register. But she's hosting workshops on Saturdays leading up to the show. So like the 30th, September 30th and October 7th.
Wow.
Cool.
That is very, very
I
cool.
like that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So we always close these out talking about our why. You've probably heard us do this exercise before, and have you done our why exercise in any setting?
I have.
So it's a big thing that we've been focused on. We do it with all new hires now. We talk about it a lot. The mayor talks about it a lot. And we believe in it because it, elevates the visibility of, the motivation of the people in the organization and the commitment that we have to, everything that we do. So we always like to ask people, what do you think about your why? How would you define your why? What gets you up in the morning, gets you going?
So we do talk about our why, but I feel like I'm on the spot right now.
That's the whole point of
Yeah,
this.
that's the whole point of it. So really our why at the CVB is to attract visitors to
Mhm.
grow the local economy.
And yours specifically, you're part of that. That's a department why, but
Mhm.
Tracy has a why too.
Tracy does have a why.
What is it? I'll share mine. Would that help?
Yes.
So my why personally is to tell all these great stories of everything that's being done in Pearland, right? We have 900 employees, and they're all contributing to this building this community. And I love telling those stories because, I grew up in Pearland, graduated from Pearland. And so I feel like it's an opportunity for me to give back to the community that raised me and help connect the dots between the people who are building it professionally and the people who have chosen it as a community, so that they're inspired and they feel gratitude for, having such a great community. And so, my very specific set of skills allow me to connect the dots between those two things. And so that's the thing that, keeps me going, especially on those days when I get an angry resident that's not happy about water restrictions or whatever the case may be. I can always kind of snap back to that.
Yeah.
This is the thing that gets me moving. So your turn.
So my turn. I guess that's an interesting framework. I guess for me, I enjoy being able to showcase what the city has to offer and appreciating that we have different audiences. So normally we're talking to people from outside the area who are not familiar with our city whatsoever, and describing it to them and getting them excited about wanting to learn more, wanting to come here.
Yeah.
But also being
you're a community hype person.
That's right. Yeah.
But also being out in our community, just at different events and talking to people. I also enjoy hearing from a resident who's like, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't realize that was in our city. And just to see that spark of how do I get more information about that?
Right.
Yeah.
So that's always fun. And then, helping business owners. We have a lot of business owners that come to us with ideas and we want to help make them a reality. So that is very enjoyable and a big part of what we do.
Absolutely. That's a very important job. We talk about community, right? And whole community is one of our strategic priorities, and delivering against that takes people like you, takes departments like the CVB to bring that to life and to make that a reality. Because if you don't have that, if you don't have parks, if you don't have things that draw people in, if you don't have sales tax, you don't have community, right? And so all of those things kind of come together and make us, I think, special. We're still pairless, except for the, except for the big pairs. If it weren't for the CVB, we wouldn't be Pearland anymore, right?
But also our EDC has our gateway.
Well, that's true. That's true.
Oh, that's right.
That's right. Yeah. If it wasn't for hotel occupancy and sales tax, Pearland would just be land. we'd have to change that. Land. Yeah, that's interesting. Any final thoughts, comments, words of wisdom, jokes?
Words of wisdom. I prepare to love it.
Okay. All right. We're
good.
done.
Yeah.
Nope.
That was it.
We're gonna.
I'll take
thank
it.
you.
I'll take it.
All right. Y'all have a fantastic rest of your day, night, or whatever time it is that you're listening to this. And find us. We're across all the platforms: Apple Music, Spotify, wherever. And join us again next time. Thanks, y'all.